The United States to the United Kingdom, Kiev to Kuala Lumpur, Montenegro, Switzerland, and now The Hague. The list of the GRU's global operations is long, brazen, and exposed. On the 10th of April, 4 Russian GRU officers arrived at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport off a flight from Moscow. The 4 had travelled on diplomatic passports. 2 of those passports had almost identical numbers. The following day, the 11th of April, they rented this car. By then, Dutch intelligence was onto them. At the same time, the OPCW, based in The Hague, was investigating the Novichok poisoning on the Skripals and the chemical attack in the Syrian town of Douma. The OPCW was the Russians' target. On Friday, the 13th of April, 3 days after they arrived, Dutch security forces stepped in. They found specialist equipment in the boot, equipment used for hacking into a Wi-Fi network. The antenna, hidden under a coat, was pointing directly at the OPCW building. The 4 Russian spies were confronted and escorted out of the country.
What was their reaction when they were caught?
They were quiet.
Did they say anything? Did they go quietly?
I'm not going to reveal what they said personally, but they were very quiet.
And you immediately escorted them out of the country?
And we escorted them immediately out of the country after we had disrupted the operation, yes.
One of the Russians had a taxi receipt from the road outside the GRU headquarters to Moscow Sheremetyevo Airport, dated 10th of April, the same day they flew to Amsterdam. A laptop seized from the suspects near the OPCW was found to have been used in Switzerland and Malaysia as well. Data showed that it was used in Lausanne, where it was linked to the hacking of the World Anti-Doping Agency, which exposed doping by Russian athletes. In Malaysia, it had been directed at the investigation into the downing of Malaysia flight MH17 in 2014 that was blamed on the Russians.
The GRU has tended to focus on state institutions or sovereign countries, but by trying to hack into the OPCW, they were targeting an international organisation, and they were doing it because the OPCW was investigating Russia and what had gone on in Salisbury.
If they think they can get away with flouting international law, trying to destabilise the way democracies go about their business, sending agents in to use chemical weapons on British soil for the first time in our history, if they think that we're just going to lie down and accept that, they're wrong. And there will be consequences, and they will regret doing this.
A few hours after the revelations in The Hague, the US Department of Justice announced indictments against 7 Russians.
It is evident from the allegations in today's indictment that the defendants believe that they could use their anonymity to act with impunity in their own countries and on the territories of other sovereign nations.
The Russian government has continued to brush off the accusations and dismiss them as nonsense.
Who comes up with all this? I'd like to look at these people. You know, it's just undignified for the country which pretends to play one of the leading roles in the world.
The new tactic by London, Washington and their allies seems to be to expose the GRU and its activities. The West has been hitting back in private, but now also in public. Alistair Bunkle, Sky News, The Hague.